doing that shit back then, dude. People were just doing lines of coke at the club.
Dude, crack literally destroyed Detroit. Crack literally destroyed New York and like the boroughs. Like the crack epidemic was horrible for the black community and like this impoverished community.
Whispers of a name, but the proof ain't dire. Bottle of whiskey and a match. Who started this fire?
At some point, the prisoners are coming out back into the yard, and there's a hierarchy there. You know, there's a power apparatus that it has a lot of control within the prison.
Right.
The prisoners aren't running the prison, though. The prisoners govern themselves to a certain degree, but they're not running the prison.
Well, then how come they're getting so much drugs in there, bro? The guards are bought and paid for, a lot of them, dude. Like, the prisoners, like, they're running shit on the outside of prison. Like, you got a lot of these cartel leaders or gang leaders that are still the boss of the gangs on the outside of prison.
Yeah, they can throw money at those problems.
Like that's like
how much is a guard making on average? You know,
like, but
again, double, triple that if you just let this guy.
You gotta take some sensationalized, a few little sensationalized stories, or one or two instances, versus the general population. No, like, that's not happening. Like, none of that shit is happening consistently.
What's not happening?
Like, it's just where let me just take the West Coast and what I know, right? You have your cars. So you have like the Woods, you have Skinheads, you have like brothers, and you have essays, and you have Paisas. And so they're all like just different factions. Okay. Mm-hmm. You kind of do you, especially like I said, on the West Coast. I don't know how it is on the East Coast and in the South. West Coast, brothers stick with brothers, period. White dudes, skinheads stick with skinheads. Woods, like Peckerwoods, stick with Peckerwoods. Paisas, and then the fuck, like the Mexican gangbangers. So the Paisas are kind of like straight, the hats, sombreros. You know what I'm saying? Like, just Okay. Anyway,
this is interesting.
Like, and so you govern like, so if you don't shower together, you don't share food unless like if I spoke to you, you spoke. Then it's like if you ran the woods and I'm like, if I hold the keys to the car or the yard when it comes to brothers, then it's like we can talk, and then it's like you can maybe make an exchange based on X, Y, and Z. But everything goes through the hierarchy. Yes, but that's just like that just kind of keeps everything segregated. You stay over there, you do you, we do us. We take care of ours, you take care of yours. But if shit and that's how everyday life is consistently. If shit gets out of hand and hits the fan, no, the whole yard gets locked down and people are just kind of fucked off, right? And then they'll take a dude and they can just sit him right to the hole, and then they can sit in the hole for years in the hole. They can sit in the years in the hole.
There's a balance of power in that, is what I'm saying. Like, maybe running the thing isn't the right way of saying it, but what I'm saying is there's certainly a balance of power between what the guards can do, what the warden can do, and what the gangs can do. So like an example that I read a book called The Hate Factory. It's fascinating. It's not very long. I recommend it if you want to get a look into prison life, dude. So the guards, and the warden did not find that balance with the inmates. And so they were taking away their perks and whatever else. And the inmates took over the prison, and they held it for like 3 or 4 days. So the prisoners can take it over pretty much anytime they want. The guards are outnumbered. They had it isolated. They laid siege to this thing. It was kind of a crazy story because some of the guards got caught by the inmates, and what they did to them was just horrific. These guys were all fucked up. They were using them as bargaining chips, but they were like raping their asses like for 4 days straight.
Right.
And then some of the guards
That's
were like,
what happens in Prison Break.
Some of the inmates were hiding the guards. So some of the guards just like stayed hidden under these bunks for like days until they got until they came to terms with the negotiations and what the prisoners wanted versus
like so much of that shit is like movie shit.
That's not a movie.
Things that happened in the 70s and the 60s. Those things don't have, like, a lot of that shit does not happen nowadays. And then it's kind of like a lot of things that I'll hear you state, and then even Sam occasionally. Like, you guys read books and then you attribute that to real life, right? It's kind of like trying to learn how, like, it's kind of like learning Spanish and learning Spanish out of with Duolingo, right? Versus literally being around a bunch of Mexicans or people who speak Spanish and learning Spanish from them. It's kind of like if you go to school to learn Ebonics. So you read a book on Ebonics. So now because you can say a few things that you think you sound cool, no, you sound stupid.
Right.
Like, it's not the same, right? So when you read books and it's like you recite certain things, it's like, bro, no, if you didn't live it, if you don't see it, if you're not around people who did this shit where you're hearing firsthand stories, no, like that shit does not happen.
Well, these were first-hand stories.
Like, but it's like from when though?
Those documentaries?
But they're probably
From
the extremes.
From when, right? I've been around dudes who've been in jail all of my life. I ain't heard no shit like that. Like in prison.
No shit
like
like
you hear
what?
where you have, like I said, you have the hierarchies within prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have dudes who run the woods, you have dudes who run brothers, you have dudes who run boom, 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 boom. The different cars. Yes, you have those guys. And they keep everybody in line for the most part. They discipline each other. They have their protocol, their daily thing. Right? But if shit really hits the fan, no, everybody's getting shot the fuck up, mace and all kind of shit, and they're going right back to their cells. That shit gets shut down. Why do you not hear about
No, I'm not.
the inmates going crazy?
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying the guards in the United States, the authority structure in the prisons can't step in and shut everything down. They certainly can. What I'm saying is that that's the extreme measures they go to. Up to that point, there is very much a relationship between the guards and the prisoners and a balance of power that goes on to try and keep the peace and try and keep things running smooth, because it's like fucking managing chaos in there. And this isn't me just making this up. I mean, you could read books, you could watch documentaries.
But how about I lived it though? And I don't need to read books. That's what I'm saying. Like I lived it. No, I don't need to be in maximum. I know people who have been. I know people who I can call right now.
Interviews from people,
but I know them and I can get firsthand stories. You're listening to. You're not being able to ask the questions and hear the voice inflection and see
so
what
did I say was wrong?
No, because it's a lot of that shit is sensationalized, and then it's like people could take it out of context, where it's like within the prison and it's just how you say it. It just comes across like what? Like yes, like, people within the prison system. If I have the brother card, right? I know, like, dude, you keep your ass over here. You do this, you do that, and it's as simple as that, bro. We work out every day. You get your fucking soups and you fucking, like, it just goes smooth. You don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you. And that's how, generally speaking, it goes in prison. And then you may get some cell phones in, you get all the other contraband and all the other nonsense that people get in on a consistent basis. And is it coming from random guards? Possibly, yeah. Or people can smuggle shit in and people get paid off to do everything all the time. Yes, I agree with those things.
Or look away.
Huh? Oh, for sure.
Look away.
Oh, no,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. But all they do is they get it in, they get it taken away from them. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to like the inmates really, really running the asylum, no, these motherfuckers don't do shit. Like, generally speaking, most people are chilling. Most people are literally heads down, do their time. Heads down, do their time. Right? And then if we're talking about maximum security, a lot of those dudes are in the fucking hole. They're not doing anything. They are on 24, it was 23 and 1. That's what, generally speaking, if you're talking about maximum security, is 23 and 1.
God.
You know what I'm saying? You get 1 hour a day to go for rec by yourself.
I mean, there's all those inmates right now that are torturing this Brian Kohberger guy, the guy who killed all the Idaho State students in that house that one night. He's in maximum security, and he's come out saying that he's being relentlessly tortured by other inmates. They're yelling and banging on the walls and yelling at him while he's sleeping, and he's saying that
it's a mental torture, right? Or is it physical?
Mental, but he's saying that they're getting to his food. Like, people are paying people off to like spit and food and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm just reporting on what article I said that, or what article that I saw that was, talking about this, and they said that there was a statement from him. And I saw some leaked footage. Somebody who worked in the jail released footage of the security cameras of him in his cell. Yeah, that dude's so weird. He's so autistic, dude. He's so OCD. But yeah, I mean, they're in there in maximum security, like mentally torturing this guy. I think there's definitely like some hierarchy that's happening there, but I am not privy to anything else other than.
I keep saying, like, is there hierarchy? Yes, but when I hear just like the inmates are running the asylum, I'm like,
well, let me give you something that I just typed in. All right, this is chat, because I used to watch this shit. This stuff was like super interesting to me. So I've watched a lot of documentaries on prisoners, it's maximum security prisons, read some books on it, as already mentioned, one of them that I read. I said, how much power do gangs have? This is ChatGPT, have in prison. This is chat. Prison gangs in the U.S. are far more powerful far more powerful than most people on the outside realize.
But hold on,
let me
how does
finish.
that apply to anything that I said? I said there's a
Because
hierarchy.
you're dismissing my argument that they haven't.
No, I literally
hold on. Let me
clarified.
finish. Let me finish.
But
Let me finish.
you're
and then you
arguing
can
a
reply.
point that I didn't
I
even
just
say,
let
though,
you
and you
rant,
said-
bro. I just let you rant. Okay.
But you're not talking about anything that I said.
They're not just cliques running hustle inside the walls. They're highly structured, multi-generational crime syndicates that operate both inside and outside prison fences. They've literally set up hits and threatened guards' families. In many cases that have been documented, in many maximum security prisons, gangs called security threat groups, STGs, run the yards. Many prisons, they run the yards. Even inmates who aren't gang members often have to align under gang protection. That's obvious. For survival, like racial umbrella groups like you were just talking about. Discipline is brutal. Disobey, you get stabbed, jumped worse, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Business operations, games control. Well, this is what I'm saying. This is the point that I'm making, and you were like acting like I was.
No, I said, and then, but
so
no,
I'm just because I didn't talk to somebody personally in a prison.
No, actually, but what I said was when you get, I said, and I was clear. I said it comes across as if. Did I not say it comes across as if? And then I said also, people, there are cars and there is a hierarchy in jail and you have to fall in line. Brothers, if I'm a brother, you got to do what I say, but generally speaking, you do what you do and you go on about your business.
Right.
Is that not what I said? Yeah. So when you keep pointing at me, I don't know if you're going to get carpal tunnel or whatever, but the fact that you keep doing all that pointing and shit, I don't understand how it applies to what I said.
you made the point earlier. This is our disagreement. So this is my point. And now you're saying you agree with it. Because
no.
My point.
He's just saying that it doesn't, when it gets to that hectic point where they can basically just take over the yard at any time.
I agree with that.
I don't think that's probably not true because that's more of an extreme case. That doesn't even happen that often.
Do the big boys do the Chapo? If you're talking about dudes like Chapo or dudes like the real Rick Ross or like some of the big boys, yes. Like, but you're like you're so in line. People are so in line. Like you don't really get a lot of the bullshit. You know, people fall the fuck in line.
They're both incentivized to keep things smooth.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so that's why I don't think it happens that often. And you guys are probably both right on.
No, and I'm just saying it comes across like the inmates run the asylum, like the
and I think
the
there's
inmates.
something too.
Well, so
like
maybe saying the same thing.
Doesn't happen in modern times as much either. Like a lot of these stories did happen a while ago.
Bro, if you
and
hear
it's a little bit different world.
You guys definitely sitting here in the tent. You guys saying the same thing.
That's like what I'm saying. 10 minutes. I've been like, dude, I think we're saying the same thing.
I think Stone just had a problem with the way you said it. Where you're like, they could pretty much take it over at any time. And I was like, probably not true.
They probably can, to be honest with you. They don't because there would be massive ramifications.
Because there's more, they're more incentivized to stay under the radar.
That's my point. There's this balance of like creating a balance of power where you manage these highly powerful, influential gangs within the prison with the guard system. And by the way, the prison's infinitely corrupt. It's a corrupt industry.
Yeah.
From top to bottom.
For sure.
So and you have these
It's
gangs.
all about money. It's all about money.
Exactly. And so the drug trade that goes through the prisons, you better believe is running through the guards, is running through the power apparatus. They're getting their cuts. They're part of the whole thing. But because if they wanted to stop drugs from getting in, they could.
But you know what I think where I don't disagree with what you're saying, where I'm just like,
that's
bro,
refreshing.
You go.
Let's go.
Adam, you say a lot of factual bullshit.
But I didn't say anything. Bro, factual bullshit. How could you even say that in the same sentence? I just literally read you my point that I made from the beginning, and you said you agreed with it.
You said it's a whole bunch of facts.
Talking about jail and stuff.
You could coin that term.
You guys, if you say you got a life sentence or something.
Sorry, Sam.
If you guys got a life sentence or something, you spending the rest of your life jerking off, or you going to find yourself a little boo thing in that prison?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
I'm just gonna be watching my.
I'm joining one of the white gangs. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, what would you would have to shave your head and get some jailhouse.
God, I would hate that, but I would want my hair cut just in case I got in a fight. Yeah. I ain't gonna be getting my hair.
Plus,
pulled
they'd
like
see those long
bitch.
golden locks, dude.
Yeah, they're gonna want this.
Water, man.
Tell me some prison stories about gang rape. Let's talk about that. What have you heard? What have you read? What is it?
Because it happens. I don't need to know the details. What are you asking?
No. Like, how often does it happen? Do you think that's a regular thing that happens in 2025? And like since, let's say, this century, since 2000.
I would say for certain people, it happens a lot more often.
So from what I understand, like the shit, when that happens, generally speaking, you want it to happen. Most dudes aren't just in there raping other dudes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Consensual
Like it
thing.
happens. No, don't get it fucked up. It happens.
Right.
But it's not like
Most of it's consensual.
But back in the day, when
That's crazy.
if you like look up what's his name, the Booty Warrior, Fleece Johnson.
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, like when you hear about the 70s, when the 60s and 70s.
So here's some stats for you, just so
What
we
is-
can have some factual bullshit. All right.
More flexible bullshit.
The National Prison Rape Elimination Commission, whatever the hell that is, estimates approximately 60,000 inmates are sexually assaulted annually across all detention facilities in the U.S.
60,000. Now, how many people are incarcerated though? So then let's see what the percentages are.
Gotta be.
I think it's like about. There's
20
another
million.
stat here. I think it's about 4 or 5% are raped.
That's
or
what I'm saying.
assaulted.
Like it's not really high.
And
Bro. I mean, it's high because it's fucked up.
Most
You got
of that percentage
you
is
got a 4 in
repeat
100
rapes.
chance of getting a train run on you. That's
Now this
way
is
more
talking about gang
chances
rape.
than I
Like, you
want.
take- now
So
you
there's about 2 million people incarcerated right now in the U.S.
2 million. Dang, I would have guessed.
Yeah.
I guess 20. That's way off.
But then you have federal prisons. That's incarcerated. So I don't jail is obviously different than prison.
Well, incarcerated just
Means that
Jail
could be
and-
jail or prison
yeah, exactly.
or whatever.
That's
So
totally-
federal prisons, it says 200,000.
200,000.
So
And then-
that's a quarter. If those were 60,000 sexual assaults
That's
in
a
federal
lot.
prison.
That's
federal
1 in 4
prison.
now.
Yeah.
But generally that happens in state prison. State prison is worse.
Local jails are like 600,000.
Do you guys think that jail and prison is like even doing
Oh,
what
state
it's
prison.
supposed to be
State
doing?
prisons is 1 million.
Probably
Federal
not.
prisons is 200,000.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
you got
state-
1.2 million.
1.2.
So you have what is that like? Yeah, that's about 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys even think that prison and jail and stuff is like doing what it's intending to do?
No.
You
Re-
think-
Well, what is it? What is
Rehabilitate.
it intended? It's either to rehabilitate or punish. That's always the argument, right?
Right.
Like
What do you say?
trying-
Is it supposed to what?
Well, prison is either
Rehabilitate or
supposed to
punish.
rehabilitate
Or
or
punish.
punish,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like those are kind of the conflicting arguments about what prison's supposed to do.
Yeah.
No.
No, what?
Both.
Well, you don't
What
think
is
it's a
prison supposed to be?
punishment?
No, is it a punishment? I'm sorry, no.
It's at
Is it a
least doing the
punishment?
punishment,
Yeah,
right?
you're doing the punishment. You have no choice.
Definitely
the-
sucks.
The rehabilitation part is so fucked up in my opinion. Right? You'll get
Part ain't
guys
working.
you get guys who go learn trades, go to fire camp, go to do all these things, and when they get out, you get dudes who are these guys' age, early 20s, and a lot of guys, especially if you go to like a 0 yard or like I said, just a camp. Well, imagine you have a drug problem. You get over your drug problem. You do a year and a half, whatever. You learn how to become a wildland fire person, and you have to do all of the things that the guys who are out. You have to learn how to do everything if you're a wildland fireman, right?
Right.
And so you're like 22, 23 years old, and you're like, oh, I may have an opportunity to get a job and change my life around. Well, no. I know in San Bernardino County, at the time that I was in there, it was only one person had gotten hired fresh out of camp.
Hey, if you guys are sick and tired of taking supplements that really don't move the needle in your physical fitness, go ahead and check out my new company we just launched, No Name Supplements. No name, no bullshit. What's in there is exactly what it claims to be. Everything we produce is tested, and you'll see phenomenal results from using it. So go hit it up and use my discount code right here in the caption to get 10% off your first order.
Out of all of the people that have come through camp, and I understand that it's a hard gig to get into, but if you're sending somebody to jail and you have them out here cutting line and doing their thing for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, 10 months, a year and a half, whatever that number is, and then when they get out, there's no chance. And when you hear that, then it just becomes, I'm just going to go through the motions, right? Like, yeah, it's cool that I learned this shit. I get all these certificates as a wildland fireman, and
But I got
I have no shot at getting a job.
So, but what I'm asking you is prison supposed to be a punishment or is it supposed to rehabilitate? What's the purpose of prison?
I think
What do you think? And it's
I,
not, it's not
I
like a
think
question, I'm getting
I
curious.
think no, I think it is a punishment, but I think it should be to rehabilitate.
Yeah, depending on the crime. Like if
For sure.
you're in there for life because you killed somebody or you did something to a kid, then fuck you.
Fuck you.
Kind of back to that
Agreed.
original conversation
Agreed.
we're having. If you're doing lesser crimes and you're going to get released, then you have to start rehabilitating these guys and you have to have opportunities for them out on the outside. Otherwise, it's just going to perpetuate. Like you're not really solving anything. You're just releasing a guy who's going to commit crime again.
Recidivism.
Yeah.
Because they can't take care of shit. They don't have any opportunities.
Well, as a
What
business
about
owner, are
like
you gonna
the-
hire
that
some
most of the
felons?
prisons in the U.S.
I have hired felons.
Have you?
Yeah, when we ran our garbage company out in Philadelphia, we would pick guys up from what was it? They would have like what's it, like the in between prison and
Halfway house.
Halfway
like a halfway
Mhm.
house where they had to go back every night, and we would pick them up in the morning to jump on the back
Yeah.
of our trucks. Oh yeah, we were working with them all the time.
And they were good work.
Yeah, a couple of our drivers had felonies.
Hmm.
Felonies.
What'd you say, Sam?
No, I was just saying, like, well, what about the point though that, like, most of the prisons in the United States now are like privatized. Like
That's the corruption I'm talking
yeah,
about. man.
yeah.
It's big business.
That's some crazy stuff where
huge
they're just
business, man.
banking money on just holding people and all this stuff.
That's why you had Kamala Harris throwing all those people in prison for freaking weed. It's because they're making money, dude. It's like filling hospital beds or filling prison beds, man.
Right. That's facts.
I think that anybody who is in a state, and soon when this is federally legal, anybody who's in a state that has legalized marijuana laws, who's been charged with a marijuana charge, should have all of those dropped, including the trafficking stuff. If they were like in a car getting caught with bricks of weed and they were serving 15 years for distribution, they should totally be.
Dude, you know what's like an interesting point of reference? Singapore, at least, I mean, I haven't looked into what Singapore is doing nowadays, but I lived out in Japan for a while.
They'll cane you for chewing gum.
They'll kill you if you deal drugs. They just hang you. Like there's no like, and if they catch you on drugs, like you're addicted, like you're hooked on drugs, you have to do like, it's like 30 or 60 days mandatory rehab. They have like no drug problems because they take the drug war seriously. The problem with us is we got the CIA facilitating the drugs being shipped into the fucking US because they use that as dark money to finance their operations. They're down there with all the cartels making this shit work, dude. It's a whole big business. It's a huge, dude, drug trade, illegal drug trade is something like, this is insane. If I can remember this correctly, I read this. It's like 15% of the revenue worldwide.
Really?
Generated. You have big banking institutions that are knowingly laundering the money for these cartels.
Right.
I've
seen Narcos.
Why the hell are we if we're facilitating that stuff for them? Why are we bombing Venezuelan?
Because they have to put on a show, dude. They have to make it look like it's the whole thing. It's a song and dance. A lot of this stuff is arranged with the cartels.
Right.
Like they work out, hey, we're going to take this many, we're going to stop this much, we're going to take this out. Those guys are going to get busted, so we can showcase that our law enforcement is doing their jobs while behind the scenes all this shit money's changing hands and everybody's in bed together.
That seems a little far fetched.
This is what I be calling bullshit. With
What's your bullshit? Call
No,
it.
I think that's true.
I'm telling you, this is true, bro.
No, hear what I'm saying. Because you use little words, which you use trigger words a lot of this. Some
Trigger
of it, I would
words.
agree. Some, yes. But you say a lot as if it happens more often than not. Well, more often than not, motherfuckers get locked up for this shit. More often than not.
No, the small fish are. The big ones are rarely getting locked up.
What's considered a small fish versus big fish?
Middle management, like the guys on the streets. Those guys are driving
What about-
like truckloads of drugs across the border. Like
What would you assume, how many millions?
I don't know. Bro,
Like, you know what I'm saying? How many millions?
I'm not a wa-
Is it
Yeah, GPT.
Is it Chapo? Is it Chapo? Is Chapo the big dog, or is Chapo considered like, you know what I'm saying, a little fish, and they just had to sacrifice a dude like?
I think the
Chapo?
really big fish you don't know.
or like
who they are.
Griselda Blanco. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Just the FBI
where?
Dude, Narcos was a pretty good look at this, and I think Narcos did a pretty good job of like capturing like the one in Colombia and the one in Mexico. Have you seen that?
Oh,
Dude,
you
it's
need to get on
freaking,
that.
That's good TV, man. That's like
Catch
the
up
best.
on some Spanish. I was even learning some Spanish,
Yeah.
reading them subtitles.
They
This is
follow
you guys
Pablo.
Probably watch too much TV. You know what? Just go hang out in the hood sometimes.
Oh, bro, I used to work in the hood, man. That was my thing. Like
See,
every
here
summer
we
all
go.
day.
See, that's like you got a black.
you guys
friend,
think-
too.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I saw like firsthand. I've literally
I love you.
spent
You are my boy,
years
yes.
in the hood knocking on people's doors, and everybody thought I was a cop. It was like, hey, Mr. Officer. I'm like, hey.
Going back to the boat, do you think we should have bombed them, or do you think like what was the purpose of it?
Well, if you're asking me, I think the purpose is to make a big public display of law enforcement. I don't think it solves anything.
It didn't solve anything.
I don't think it solves a damn thing, and I don't think they're trying to solve anything. Because if you took the war on drugs seriously, you could stop it. Like, I was listening to this guy talk about this recently on a podcast. He's like, all you would need to do to take out the drug cartels in Mexico is drop off a couple of special forces teams in Mexico, and they would eradicate everybody. Yeah, our ability to inflict damage on people we don't like, we can
true.
take motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
dude.
That's true.
Second to none.
That's true.
And so, like,
We're
what are we
out.
talking about? If we could stop it and we're not, then what are we talking about? And I'm telling you, this is true. The CIA, this is documented, has been very much invested
Freeway
in bed
Ricky Ross.
with the cartels. And when somebody
he was propped up by the CIA.
Yeah.
He didn't even know he was dealing with the CIA.
The CIA are the real bad guys, bro. Those guys are fucking
Let me ask
bad
you guys
dudes.
this. Do you think, so to Sam's point, guys who like have weed crimes, not coke and heroin, stuff like that.
Right.
But
Okay.
the weed, do you think that now that it's legal in certain states and certain areas, we should go back and revisit the crime that they did? So if they're incarcerated for X, Y, and Z 10 years ago, and they're doing whatever that number is, do you think they should be released?
I think they've served enough time.
Since, you know.
Get them out.
Well, I don't even think anybody should be in prison for weed.
I don't either.
I think, that's nonsense.
But they did commit a crime for the time, you know,
Yes, you have
the
to have law and order,
circumstances at the time they got arrested. So they've served enough time. Yeah, get them the fuck out of there.
I think anybody in weed you should release, man. If you're a drug dealer caught with, you got a ton of shit that you're trying to sell, you could be locked up
going
forever.
back to
I don't care.
the boats and the cartels.
But like people that are caught like with their own personal weed stash or whatever, they've been
Who do
thrown
you
in
blame?
prison.
Do you blame the drug dealers or the drug addicts?
It's symbiotic, dude. The U.S. is the biggest consumer of illegal drugs.
I'm saying just on the local level, like small. You know how people get mad? It's like when you see on TV the pastor, you bring this shit into my community, blah blah blah. You're dealing this shit to our people.
I think what's symbiotic here is the CIA sending weapons down to the cartels, and Joe Rogan was just talking to a dude about like the only way to stop the cartels is to stop the CIA sending the guns down there to funding all their violence and mayhem.
I'm pointing fingers again. Carpal tunnel, dude.
Carpal tunnel, dude.
Going back to that, I mean, we have been known, have we not, to just willy-nilly give anybody who wants them just weapons upon weapons. I mean, we did it in Ukraine. We're doing it with the cartels. We did it in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Well, the federal government is the biggest crime syndicate in the world, for sure. Like all that shit, dude. Every one of those politicians goes in and they come out worth $100 million.
On a $200,000 salary.
Yeah.
Right. Impossible.
Every which way those guys are committing crime, they're doing it, man.
Back to your point, though, I would say it's the people. The drug dealer's just feeling a need. You know, at least he's doing something.
It's a symptom of the problem.
It's a symptom, yeah. I think the user is the problem. You know, why are you got to take some responsibility. You're the one bringing that in because you're seeking it out.
And then you have this broader issue right now where you got fentanyl on the rise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
that
going
I would
through the
blame
roof.
on the dealers because these people are innocent. Don't
Well, a lot
even
of them
know
want
what they're
fentanyl,
doing,
right? Yeah, but they
Some of them
step
do.
on the drugs.
See,
whatever,
there
they
you go.
mix it in there.
See, there you go with the bullshit. See, that's the bullshit.
What'd he say?
A lot of them. No, a lot of people are not. They're like, and you can look it up. A lot of people are dying as a result of fentanyl because
No, I know that.
Because they don't know what's in there.
They don't know what's in there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. A lot of the drugs are stepped on. That's what I was just saying. A lot of drugs are stepped on. They're mixing shit in there. There's people
Dude,
dying.
they're literally
but they're
spraying
also
the heroin
fentanyl's like
fields with
50
fentanyl.
times stronger than morphine, and you can build up a tolerance for it. So people actually are literally just taking fentanyl.
I actually heard how
high.
fentanyl started was the heroin didn't have like a good harvest, and it was like weaker, and they threw some fentanyl in it to beef it up.
Yeah, they do that all the
Got
time.
people hooked.
They do that all. They
just kept
spray it.
posting
They spray it with fentanyl. They call it sprayed.
Like a pin, just a pinhead could kill you.
Yeah, if
a
you don't have a
grain
tolerance
of
for it,
salt.
you haven't built up. If you start using it, you'll build up a tolerance.
You'll
for
start
it,
doing the phenylene.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
We should
Yes.
pull
But
that
dude,
up.
the
That shit is
eradication.
wild.
This is a broader
Back
topic.
just broken, head
I saw
dragging on the ground.
That looks crazy.
That's
That-
Dead
wild,
asleep, perfectly in balance.
yeah.
It's insane. I saw it in Seattle. It's wild.
But they-
I saw it in Portland when I
They're
was
on
there
their
a
way
couple
to
weeks.
death.
Saw a
right
lot
there.
of that on it.
Once they start leaning heavy, I think it was maybe like a week ago. I was watching one of those like A&E shows, and when they started to do the fentanyl lean, it was saying
They're
that
close.
That's
All that
It's
blood
just
rushing
right-
to their head.
it's like-
They fucking die.
death is imminent, my guy.
Doing that.
Buck's got it down. No, but a lot of this is because, like you say, who do you blame? It's like, well, this we're completely like eradicating the middle class in the U.S. Right? The rich are getting more and more powerful. It used to be you could buy a home on one salary not that long ago. You can't do that anymore. You have to have two people working, and people can't even afford houses now people, the middle class feels like they're getting left behind. They're getting checked out. Their dollar doesn't stretch. Everything's going up in prices. They don't have opportunities like, previous generations have. So now you have this massive spike, no surprise, in drug use, and fentanyl is a big part of that. Dude, like, it's a huge issue right now. And I think when you say, is it drug dealers the problem? I mean, unless they're trying to pitch it to kids,
Mm-hmm.
I think drug dealers are just simple.
So why do we, if you're talking about accountability and you're talking about accountability, why often when we talk about weight loss and shit like that, we always want to blame the system and how they try to feed us the bullshit?
Well, no, what we're pointing out is we're not blaming individual. We talked about that as well in the last show, where it's like, you can't blame McDonald's for making you fat. You can't blame, Big Pharma for making you sick when Big Pharma's got a rap sheet of making people sick as long as freaking the Mississippi River, dude.
Right.
Like you
Also, food, everyone's got to eat. Not everybody has to do drugs.
I think alcohol is a really good example of this. There's people who know how to use it and how to drink it without getting addicted, becoming alcoholics, and without it like affecting their whole entire life, and they use it responsibly and in moderation. But I think there's a couple.
You can't say the same about sweets.
You can say the same thing about food. I'm just saying, and with drugs in general, you have people who can responsibly take drugs and be okay and live lives where they're good parents, they're good at their work and their job, and they don't let it affect other things. But as soon as it becomes a crutch or an addiction, that's when it starts to really hamper down.
I agree with everything that you said. So what kills people more? What do you think? Cocaine or
Diabetes.
sugar?
Which one did you try?
I would say diabetes.
Sugar. No. I've tried
Yeah,
sugar.
sugar.
And I don't,
sure.
and I don't, and I
Well,
very
because
rarely
sugar is used by everybody.
Sugar is the one that's
It's
killing
got a much
everybody
broader
right
reach,
now.
right?
I mean,
There's not a large
That was my
part
point.
of the population that does
Right.
cocaine. So you're talking percentages, though.
Okay, you're talking about percentages. What kills
I'm asking you.
I don't
You're
know.
asking
Like,
I think the percentage is higher of
What percentage?
total
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that
I'm not talking about the
take
total people. I'm
sugar
talking about the
and
percentage of
people that
people.
try cocaine
Right.
that end up
People do
dying. I
drugs.
would say it's
versus
higher
pe-
percentage with sugar.
Death
Guaranteed.
as a result of too much sugar, obesity.
Well, so that's
You know
not,
what I'm saying?
sugar's
Like-
not killing you. So obesity leads to other illnesses that end up. Sugar might feed cancer or whatever, right?
Sugar.
So what's the
diabetic.
solution here? Is it to like make all drugs legal and give people safe spaces to use them, or is it to keep things
bombing ships in the
wrapped up
Atlantic
and
Ocean?
bombing ships
Useful.
and
Like
keeping
one out of 1,000.
everybody feeling like, oh, I'm doing something naughty? Because I think that gives a major tell into kind of our culture as Americans, because when Ronald Reagan had this war against drugs, it really wasn't that huge of a problem before then. And then all of a sudden it's taboo and everybody's like, I
old
want
were
to
you
try
when-
this.
What?
Not born.
Okay.
Not born.
The war on drugs.
The war on
Ronald
drugs.
Reagan was elected in 84. No, in 80. He went from 80 to 88. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The war on drugs. If I'm not mistaken,
That's pretty good.
Big brain on stone.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
all right, play out.
Amongst other things. Relax. So, in the war on drugs, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 84, his second term, correct?
Yeah.
84, 85?
Oh, I think he talked about it definitely term one.
No, okay, maybe, but I'm saying,
Implemented
but the actual war on drugs, look and see when that was.
I mean, his wife was the one that rolled out the just say no.
Just say no. And that was towards, if I'm not mistaken, look it up there real quick. Was that not towards the late 80s? My point is,
It was early 80s.
the war on drugs, look, are you looking
We
it up?
just looked it up.
What year was it though?
1982.
82. So that's when she just say no, that whole just say no thing was 82.
Mhm.
So
Dare.
there, yeah, I remember that shit. So my point is, when you say it wasn't that big of a deal, bro, do you know, like in the 80s, the crack epidemic and all that shit was insane.
Dude, that's
It, like, it
they're
literally
apples to
ravaged-
oranges here. The fentanyl epidemic right fucking now versus that. I guarantee you those numbers are crazy.
Oh,
big,
like look
dog.
that up real quick.
Look that up.
Can we look that up? Like,
No, I'm
look at the
gonna
crack.
agree.
the
No way.
crack- no, all right, but
Hell.
you talking loud don't make you right. Look,
Crackheads don't die.
Huh?
I heard some guy kind of talking about
crack,
that.
Like the crack epidemic
He said
versus
he
the
wish he could go back to the
fentanyl epidemic.
crackheads because they're way more fun.
What-
Guaranteed way more happening in this fentanyl epidemic right now. I mean, it's
That's
getting,
because that's what you live. That's
it's-
what you're living through.
it's
You're
getting
living.
laced in marijuana. It's
I
getting
agree.
laced in
I'm not
cocaine.
arguing
It's
with.
get-
I'm not
They
arguing.
weren't doing that shit back then, dude. People
Bro,
were just doing lines of
The
coke
crack.
at the
No,
club.
actually, dude, Crack literally destroyed Detroit. Crack literally destroyed New York and like the boroughs. Like the crack epidemic was horrible for the black community and like this impoverished community because rich people wasn't fucking around with crack.
Right.
I mean, Whitney said crack is whack.
Yeah.
Whitney said crack is whack.
Yeah.
Well, what is it though?
But those crackheads aren't dying like the fentanyl.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying he said that it's not as bad. I'm
crazy.
like, the crack epidemic was bad.
He's saying it's worse, right?
I would say the fentanyl is worse because
I don't know.
of how many
Well,
more
I'm
people
telling you
it
right now.
kills.
I just looked it up.
Okay.
All right. So it's saying right now, according to a 2025
How's that carpal tunnel?
report, about 17% of Americans age 12 and older report using some form of drugs in the past month, making a almost 2% increase year over year.
Fentanyl is the deadliest drug
So it is increasing.
epidemic in U.S.
Drug use
history
is
by
increasing.
body
But
count.
are you
was
talking about
less
death?
about raw overdose deaths?
yeah, what are you
and more
talking
about
about?
social
I'm talking
destruction,
about the
crime, and
epidemic.
punitive
I'm literally
policy
talking about the
response.
drug epidemic. I said that
Just
I'm
like
talking
the
about
way
the
it
crack.
took over?
Exactly how
Okay.
crack hit, how crack just took over everything and how bad it was in the 80s.
And
I'm not talking about death. I don't know about the death rate.
It
like-
literally says it's the deadliest drug epidemic.
but you keep saying deadly. I'm talking about the crack epidemic.
way it
I
came
don't
on
know
to
what
scene
other way to
kinda
measure
thing.
this thing by then just measuring it by people dying and getting.
Well, I would have
hit.
assumed it was the way he was
Epidemic,
breaking
dude.
it down.
Epidemic
It's
means
more
that there's-
deadly. There's more people dying from
It's
it.
way more addictive. It's way more accessible. I
But the
don't
way
know
it
what your- I
came
don't know what
on,
your
you
point
might
is,
be onto
Stone.
something because that was also helped with by the CIA. They're the ones that planted that in those impoverished communities and started it.
Hold on a second. Let me see. See if I can.
Whereas I don't know what their
Okay.
involvement is with
Look up-
fentanyl, but
Fentanyl.
How bad-
Okay. It says fentanyl is not just another drug. It's a game changer in how lethal and disruptive it is compared to what has come before. Heroin baseline opioid use in the streets for decades. Morphine, standard hospital opioid for severe pain. Fentanyl, about 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. That's crazy. 10 times stronger carfentanyl, a fentanyl analog, is 10,000 times stronger than morphine. Originally designed to sedate elephants.
holy shit.
Cocaine, meth, and heroin killed, but overdose thresholds were higher and more predictable. Fentanyl is such a narrow margin for error that one bad cut, one pill too strong could drop somebody instantly. Overdose deaths in the U.S. were 17,000 in 1999. In 2023, over 70,000 were from fentanyl alone.
There we go,
Sam's cooking right now.
dude. I just because I'm young and just because I'm living in this,
No, because,
time
like,
doesn't mean that those facts aren't real, dude. The crack epidemic does not hold a fucking candle to
According
fentanyl.
to this, it doesn't. That's
So-
It
correct.
does not hold a
Looking at
candle to
this-
fentanyl.
But once
You're
again,
wrong.
like,
You're
once again,
wrong.
No. What's factual is that I never said, I'm not talking about death. I said the epidemic. And when I'm talking about the amount of people that used crack in the 80s and how it took over and it literally destroyed our community.
Isn't that what?
It literally,
fentanyl?
but I'm not like, if you're talking about how things progressively get worse, athletes progressively everything gets better or worse over the course of time. I'm not arguing, and I wasn't arguing what's more lethal. I'm talking about how it literally took over and ravaged a community.
And I agree. I agree.
That's what I'm talking about. And you
I'm
said,
still saying,
and then you
fentanyl
said
in that regard.
and you said it couldn't hold a candle.
Can't.
And so what I just typed in, was how bad was the crack epidemic in the 80s versus fentanyl today? Both the crack epidemic and today's fentanyl crisis are devastating drug crises in U.S. history, but they offered a different scale in how lethal they are and social impact. Let's see. So we've already stated.
So
that,
if you zoom out and you look at the two epidemics, they have two kind of different modalities that they ended up going in. So if you look at Sam and the fentanyl epidemic, it's far more deadly with just outright deaths.
right,
But if you look at the crack epidemic, it has a lot more social impact, especially with things like rates of violent crime, economic disparity, and racial profiling. And so if you look at it, yeah, Sam's right, where it's ravaging communities and just outright deaths.
I didn't
But if you
say
look at long-term effects, the crack epidemic seems to have been more socially.
hold it. And what was? Just because I may not be as articulate as Adam and Sam, we may not be.
I just was reading chat.
No. But what?
I don't want any shots fired, Stone. I've got to
No.
And that
In
makes sense with the crime because the crackheads didn't die. and they had like superhuman
and-
abilities.
and fentanyl is-
And I was
Superhuman
referring, and I
scale.
wasn't talking about
So they're
people dying
running
because
around-
I would have agreed if you had said crackheads didn't die, bruh.
Yeah.
Crackheads were like crackheads
Well, I mean,
were
we all know
invincible.
that crackheads are forever.
So they're
Like crackheads are. I'm
they're
talking
more
about
likely to commit crimes if they're
when
not
you talk
dead.
about the social impact and what I saw happen to the communities, and that's what I kept saying. Our communities on the in the crack with the crack epidemic was insane what had happened, right? And if you didn't see it, youngster, you don't know about it. And so yes, who was like so that you
I can't crack open a history book and
No,
go
you probably
read
didn't.
Yo, hey,
You're
so
not allowed.
to create a little bit of peace.
Not allowed,
the
Sam.
peace
we,
by
we don't want no
drugs,
peace
they got
over here.
weed.
We want beef. We want no
Okay,
peace.
but Fenster is saying what he's saying is correct. Is what you're saying is correct. You're
I know,
both
but
saying
no,
things.
but I never said he was wrong. He just tried to point out the fact that I was wrong and I wasn't. That's what I'm talking about because
You pulled the age card on him though, bro.
I know, and I'm right because he wasn't talking about what I was talking about. He kept only talking about like
How deadly it
death, and I wasn't saying
Well,
anything
he also
about
said
death.
drug use is.
I said what I said was,
He was
and
right.
we
'Cause
can
it
go back
mixes
and roll the
in.
tape. I said,
Roll the tape.
You can only get
worse,
crack one
crack
way.
or fentanyl.
Fentanyl,
and I
you
would
put that
say
in every
fentanyl
drug.
is for sure worse because it's killing more people. And if you go to school and you try and buy some Vicodin off of somebody, you could get a fucking fentanyl pill
I would agree
and
with all
die.
that. No, I
Like,
agree with all that. I would agree with all that. I
That's
just got
worse.
finished saying. But what I'm saying, when we talk about epidemic, and maybe we're just saying it differently because I think once again how Ducky just got finished saying that socially is when I look at how it impacted and you had to be there. That's what I was talking about. I literally saw what it did to communities. You know what I'm saying? I'm 10, 11, 12 years old, and I'm saying people who look like us, and then 2 weeks later, a month later, they just fucked off completely, right? And then I'm watching the streets and the communities go to complete shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I lived through that shit. So yeah, like of course you can go look at a history book, but it's just like when you talk about
I
sports.
lived in the aftermath of Canton, Akron, Ohio. I mean, that was
And when did Akron go bad? Was it? It's been bad forever.
It's been bad.
Right. And if you look at
Pre-
Detroit,
LeBron
if you look at Detroit and the things that happened to Detroit, if you look at the boroughs in New York, if you look at LA, I'm telling you, bro, you know what I'm saying? The crack epidemic was insane. It was insane. And again, it was a social impact.
Now the problem here is that because of this now, it's not like you can just for the people who are going to go out and use drugs, you know, which they are, everybody's just going to keep doing the thing. It's not like you're taking crack now and you're just living forever. It's like you're taking something and it's a lottery ticket if you're going to pop out on top or not. And that's, I think, much worse when we're dealing with our kids going to schools and stuff, when we know that they're going to start experimenting with stuff. I mean, you can't stop teenagers from doing that stuff. It is ravaging the youth. And, you know, I think this is apples to oranges here, right? But deadliest for sure. But at the same time, it's like, man, it's making it so, you know, people who are going out to try things, you know, they are putting their life in their hands, man, because you don't know what you're taking, especially if you're buying it off the street. And
So back to the original question, is it a good idea to legalize all drugs?
dude, I don't know the answer to that question.
Yo, here's
I
a
think it might
question
be.
for you to close out on this debate on who started this fire. I think we can all agree it was the CIA.
100% started this fire.
All right.
Fuck the CIA.
Here's the
Started a
big
lot of
dog.
fires.
Here's the part that I have. Like here, you have illegal drugs. What is the difference between illegal drugs and pharmaceutical drugs?
Say that one more time.
Not
What's
a big
the
difference.
between? Is there a big difference between illegal drugs and pharmaceutical drugs in terms of negative consequences?
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
I mean,
they all come from the same poppy fields in
Wait,
Afghanistan.
wait. Let me play the devil's advocate here, though, because pharmaceutical drugs, if I go and I have my knee surgery or whatever, and they give me painkillers, they're giving me a prescription with a set amount. I have to show my ID and scan that in. Obviously, there's still abuse going on, but it's not like me going to some dude on the street like, "Yo, give me some Vicodin," and then it's like, you know, stuff that's been cut up on the street. I think there's a big difference there for sure.
Well,
The transaction doesn't
so
have anything to
Big
do
Pharma-
with the detriment that it's causing to
Big
people's lives.
Pharma absolutely lied about OxyContin and what it did, for sure. They knew the addictive nature of it, and there was nearly 500,000 overdose deaths between $19.99 in 2019 just from OxyContin overdose.
Sheesh.
So what are we talking about? Like we're picking bad guys and good guys. Like they're the good guys because they wear white coats and, you know, have a certificate from a, you know.
Yeah.
So what
You
drug?
go get it.
but isn't
You
it
go
Oxy?
get it legally and you
But-
show your ID or whatever.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Oxy like a gateway drug where a lot of people start off having knee surgery or some type of an injury,
100%.
and then they start taking
It
Oxy,
gets the
and then
Yeah,
it
people
goes to
that were
heroin?
never going to search for drugs to begin with,
Yeah.
and it gets them. That's why the pharmaceutical is just
This is
bad.
the hot take from chat. Illegal drugs kill fast and visibly. Sensational. Pharmaceutical drugs kill slow and quietly. Hey, and guys, if you like sitting around this fire with us, please like and subscribe. It helps us to continue keeping this content coming your way and build the show up to being even bigger.
Boots in the dust, smoke